Hello, everybody. This is a beautiful 17th of January, and we're live together with Kirsty from Chameleon. Hey, Kirsty.
Hey everyone, I was enjoying that intro music. I could have stayed there
Yeah,
for a bit longer. It was quite mindful.
it's kind of spring cheerful when we have this crazy snow outdoors. Where are you in the world, Kirsty?
I really can't complain about the cold. I'm based in Barcelona, so it's quite a mild, about 18 degrees here at the moment. There was a little bit of rain, but the sun is back out again. Um, Not from Barcelona, right? All the time though. I'm from Scotland, so I've definitely got like soft with my temperature over the years. I have a jumper on still, repping Chameleon.
Very nice. And everybody in the audience, feel free to interact, ask questions, or tell us where you are at right now. And do you have snow? Because we do, and I don't kind of like it. Okay, but not about that. Today we're going to talk about the product data, and that the perfect person to have on is Kirsty from Chameleon. She is a director of content and product marketing. But for a better introduction, I'll push it over to you, Kirsty. What does Chameleon do? What do you do at Chameleon?
Yeah, thank you for having me. So I am director of content and product marketing over here. I've been in content and product marketing. I think I was in it longer than I really realized that I was doing it. But I've been in SaaS for about 8 years now. Product data is something like you brought this up as a topic that we could talk about, and I was like, oh yeah, could be interesting. I think I don't realize like I'm looking at it every day, and maybe like other people aren't aware of like what they can do with it. So I hope to share that today. I work for Chameleon. We are a product adoption platform. I've been here for about 3.5 years. If you don't know what a product adoption platform is, you have probably seen one of our Chameleon product tours in the wild before. They're the tours that guide you, the checklists that tell you how to onboard to a product. The cool thing is you probably don't even know there was a Chameleon product because we like to blend in, but help users find their way. So that's my little 30-second spiel for you.
Very, very cool. And yeah, the beautiful thing about it is probably you didn't know it, but that was that. Like for better product adoption. And that's really, really cool. So if we kick this off for
Yeah.
product data, you're a marketer, you're a product marketer. So, what type of data do you think is the most valuable for you as a product marketer?
That's hard. I love my
It
data.
is.
I
It's
need
like
all of
everything.
it.
No, but there are pieces that you use, and sometimes you think, oh, I'm overwhelmed. So, what are like, if you were to choose a couple of the most important ones that you always keep an eye on for building
Mm.
up your strategy or content, whatever that is?
For me, I think I'd recommend activation data. And here's why. Because I love my top of the funnel. I love looking at it and being like, oh, look how much traffic we got, signups, demos coming through the door. However, if you're not looking at that step just like a little bit further on, like, okay, they've signed up. Are they actually like coming back to your product? Are they playing with your product? Are they having a good time with it? Like all of these things are super important. And if you're flying in the dark, you don't know that, you're just going to end up like shoveling more and more money into top of the funnel, more of those ads that are bringing you in leads that aren't converting later on. So lots of data, but if you're looking for somewhere to start to be like, are our marketing efforts actually translating to success further down the funnel? I'd look at like the first few days of usage in your product.
Yeah, that's kind of a leaky funnel you might think of because you got the right leads in, but something went wrong. So, how do you look for those patterns and what would you do as a marketer?
For leaky funnels, I mean, my top tip, like whenever anyone's new to this, really, is just try, like, come up with a idea or a hypothesis on your own. And you probably already have that. It's probably been brought up at like a marketing meeting already. Like, oh, we're not sure these users are converting to pipeline. So start digging into that and like even just like pick one user to begin with and be like, what did they get up to? Like, what happened here? From there, you're going to start to feel more comfortable and be like, oh no, they didn't do that onboarding flow, or like they didn't invite anyone else, and we've not seen them
Yeah.
in since they went. So I think just like getting in, investigating is the best way to see, like, is there some kind of leaky funnel?
Yeah.
Another way that you could go about it, if you're using like a product data tool, maybe like a mix panel, a heap, an amplitude, you can start to cohort some of the users that have come into your platform. Maybe you want to look at, okay, I only want to look at paid campaigns that came through, let's say, a Chameleon, like user onboarding keywords. We could filter down there and be like, okay, what happened after that? Then you'll start to see these like key events emerge. Like, okay, no, these user onboarding people, they went straight to the user onboarding use case, and that would be perfect. But then maybe if you had that group again and they're not going to the thing that you want them to go to, there's something off at top of the funnel. It might be your targeting, it might be your ad copy, you're attracting the wrong people. But it gives you a clue of where to start looking to fix that bucket.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very interesting. Like the key pieces of activation at Dream Data, what we see is, as you're mentioning, are they inviting other people? Are they clicking around? Or are they doing some certain actions, and how long time does it take from one action to the other? Because there are some specific things of that aha moment. Get that fast, and then they will continue using it. And so how close do you work with the product team? And what do you look at to help each other out on these type of things?
I'm very close with our product team, which is nice. It's like a change from even looking back like 5 years ago, where marketing and product were just like so detached.
Yeah.
Marketing would get people in top of the funnel and they'd be like, okay, bye, deal with that. I meet with our product team once a week. We have a product marketing, product sync, where we go into, at the moment, we're more looking at releases and how we can work together better on them. However, early on, and like when the marketing team was still very small, we got a dashboard together, which just had our activation metrics, retention. We had some key cohorts going on, which kind of, I think, got rid of any future problems just by being on the same page from the beginning. And maybe I could even like share that into more actionable tip for others who are like, oh, the relationship isn't great. I think if you start small and like show an interest in building that basic dashboard, you're going to be more and more on the same page and like speaking the same language, which will get you like more conversations going, and it won't be so hard.
It's very similar to like any type of collaboration, because I similarly speak about the same for sales as well. As like as long as you get together once a week, share and talk about what are you being measured upon, and then care for each other's work to help each other literally get to those targets. Because you, Kirsty, you know some top of funnel details and maybe activation plays, and then they know what they might fix in the product in order to get that going. So like, another question for the instant effects that you would be looking for in the product data as a marketer. So is there anything that you specifically think that this is always have to be on point for us to have results?
As in, let's say you're a marketer, you're pretty new to this, you need to find some quick ways. You need that low hanging fruit coming your way, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of ways you could do it. Like, product qualified leads is a quick win in my book, in terms of if you know what your activation rate is within the product, if you then kind of define that as a marketer too, like what do we think a successful user is looking like, then you can start to like grow that segment of people further. And I know there's like other tooling out there that you can use to calculate your PQLs. Like maybe this is more of a smaller scale quick win, but it's still something you can do in just like your dashboard, figure that out, keep that as a metric that you want to track. I think another really quick win, and I'm pretty like bullish on personalization and segmentation, is if you find that you have a really like large email list, or maybe you're seeing a problem as a marketer, like we're just not getting as much traction with like people coming to webinars, people reading our emails. I feel like that's quite a common story at the moment.
Yeah.
If you use that product data that you have of like successful customers or like new users, what are they up to? Like, are they interested in user onboarding? Are they interested in reducing churn?
Yeah.
If you can segment your communications just like a little bit deeper and invite the people who are interested in churn to a webinar, how you can reduce churn with your tool,
Yeah.
and then put those user onboarding folks into another flow and maybe some content about best practices for user onboarding, I think you're going to see much more success. You're going to see your open rates, conversion rates, all of that like go up and kind of get over this one size fits all marketing.
Yeah. It is a very interesting and very quick win, because as a marketer, especially if you're beginning, you might feel like, oh, so this batch of people are interested in churn, but probably everybody else is too. So let me just send it out to everybody. And then then you get a little spammy as well and reach people that don't care.
Yeah. But then there's the other side of it too. Like if you know from your product data that people who come to your product for X reason do really, really well, like they spend loads of money, they have big teams, that's also something that you can use in your favor, because you can be like, okay, the people who have not engaged with this feature or this use case, we're going to cross sell that content all the way home to them and make sure like they know like successful users are doing really, really well when they do this. And that should be like your goal, to push more people to, well, happiness, and we can't forget revenue at the end of it too.
Yeah. So talk to me a bit more about content, because it has been an overall topic so far, even though we're talking product data, but also a lot of content. So how do you structure your content creation comparing to the product data?
Good question. A couple of things come to mind. I think of course, what are successful users consuming? And you can only really get that when you put your product data combined with your like real top of the funnel data and see that full picture. Like when people are coming in, maybe they read this blog, but like what's the journey after that? What happens on their way to sign up, and then through to revenue? Mm-hmm. So I think that's one way you can like inform your content strategy too, like look at what people are reading on their journey. And it might not be like a direct conversion, like it might just be like a theme that you see in terms of this group of blogs is doing very, very well amongst people who go on to have a great like customer journey with us. Mm-hmm. In other parts of getting product data into your content, I think as marketers, we do sleep on like how much data we have and what we can do with it. And I think this year we're going to see it more and more. Like we have these Google algorithm updates, which is like original content that's going to be prioritized more and more. We have so much like original content that you can create by looking like at a zoom out view of how people are interacting with your product. Yeah. Like if you go into your mix panel, your heap, whatever it might be, you can always see like, what's the biggest user? Like how many people are in a team? Basic things, but you can go deeper and be like, how many people, let's say if you're working at Canva, like how many social images is the average social team creating every year? If you are at Chameleon, for example, we have a report that we will be launching in February, so watch out for that. But that's called the benchmark report, and we've done that for 5 years in a row now, where we look at all of our data and we break it into the 4 product types that we've had. We're going to have a couple more this year, which is very exciting. But we look at product tours, onboarding checklists, tooltips, micro surveys. And let's talk about product tours, for example. We look at the completion rate. Like, what is the perfect length of a product tour that you should have if you want people to actually complete it and do the action that you're trying to get them to do? Yeah. And similarly, you can do it with like the micro surveys, like looking at the feedback that we're collecting over the year. Like, how many times should you ask people? Like, do people who say, oh yeah, remind me later, do they actually come back? I think if you can gather these pieces of product data that you likely already have, like get creative, get thinking about it. That's going to give you content for like the whole year. Like you can build that into your content strategy. You can pepper every blog post that you have with a couple of stats. You can even go further, like that is a content campaign in itself that you can be running on ads, that you can be getting involved with influencers. So product data you could go far with. I could talk about it forever.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And then, so is there a red thread between the product data, the content that you're creating, and how you're using it for marketing? Now you mentioned paid ads, for example. So how would you design that type of a flow of what you're getting from product to get more clients of that type?
Interesting. Taking it right back up again. For paid, I think a few different ways you could go about it. Like you have all your segmentation like lower down in the funnel. And I'm sure this is something that most marketing teams are already doing, but like trying to activate those dormant users, trying to get trial users to go to revenue as well. I think if you have that product data behind you too, though, it can help you make more informed decisions about how you're spending your money. There might be like secrets in there that you probably will challenge yourself onto. Like if you're looking at zoom out view, you're looking at the people you're seeing. Maybe it's marketing lifecycle managers, and you think like, yeah, that's our persona. But the ones who are like really using your tool day in, day out are maybe like copywriters. That's a completely different thing, which can help you run these new experiments, try and target different personas. Another kind of product data, I'm going to weave it in, is product feedback that you'll likely have in your dashboards, in your CRM as well. I think if you tie that feedback and those responses that you get to right to the top of your advertising campaigns, it can give you a good social proof boost. I know it's a challenge at the moment. I'm adding that one in to get those like G2 reviews, get all this kind of like formal feedback, but there is likely like words in there too that you can use. You can put into like AI tools to give you a summary of sentiment. You can get together like a word cloud and see like what's the most prominent word being used by a product. There's just so much there that you're probably sleeping on.
No. Yep, I could imagine. And now you're saying that there's so much there, it can be really overwhelming for content because you're feeling always behind. You've got a lot of data. I could write this and write that and so on. What do you feel like most content managers and people managing the content are overlooking? Like they likely focus on something that is not as important as something they haven't seen.
My take is like you're probably overlooking the boring. That sounds boring in itself. But sometimes like the way you think about dominating a part of content, it isn't like the sexiest campaign that you could possibly do. It's like doing one thing and doing it really, really well, like just heads down for a quarter. If you find within your data, like there's a massive correlation between let's go back to like that Canva example, like Facebook social media graphics and marketing managers. Like, how can you help them be the best that they can be at Facebook social graphics? Like, there's not just going to be the one term that they're looking for that you can write about. There's probably going to be like platforms, like, can you learn them in? Like LinkedIn social graphics, Facebook social graphics, like really dominate a part of that content and then move on to the next bit. I think as like content managers and marketers, we can be like excited little puppies. Like the next cool thing comes along and we're like, oh, let's do that. But I think like with time, I'm starting to realize like do one thing, do it really, really well. And that's going to set you up for a lot longer than just like chasing the next cool thing.
Yeah. What's the coolest thing that you have seen working at Chameleon as of content?
Oh, the coolest thing. I mean, my answers might be really boring again, but I think they're cool. For me, it's been like really niche
Uh-huh.
searches in terms of content.
Uh-huh.
We took this like gamble. We took a gamble about 9 months ago, I'd say, and it was just going really long tail, like adding technology fit onto these keywords like React, product, tours, best. And there was like 10 people searching for this, but like actually there's a lot more people than we thought they were, which was great. So
Nice.
we fired out a few more of them. I think a failing there in a way is like we stopped because there were cooler things to write about. We're like, oh no, we
Mm.
have to be like really good at LinkedIn. Um, and there's still more to do there. And that's why like this quarter in particular, like tying it back to that product data again, I know that people come to Chameleon largely with the problem of I need to improve my user onboarding.
Mhm.
So that's something I want to do like really, really well with our content. It's just like be great at all of our user onboarding content, no matter whether it's a first time user being like, what is user onboarding? All the
Yeah.
way down to like, I have JavaScript app and I have no user onboarding help. Like, we're going to be there.
Very cool. And in order to measure your user onboarding, you mentioned, oh, this data is very important. You might want to write some content and so on. How much and how do you mix the actual user interviews with the data that you're receiving? How do you work with that?
User interviews, as in like calls that maybe like sales, CS, marketing team are having.
Yeah, like the actual conversations, how the onboarding was, and to get that first impression from the person who is explaining it, how they actually did it and what was wrong with it. Because to take it back, there are a lot of people speaking about, oh, in marketing, you just have to ask your people and you'll get all the data. You're like overwhelmed with data. You need to talk to the real people. And then there is a challenge because you've got all that data. So can't you just read it? And how often should we just talk to those people? Because everybody's busy and maybe that data is better. Because I don't know.
Oh, I think mine's a bit of a hot take, but like I think marketers have got like all the pathways they could possibly have to get the information they need without like shoulder tapping someone. Um, I don't know. Maybe people will disagree with me on that one, but like, for example, if I think about all the ways I could get information about how customers are using product, I have recordings of calls which we use Fathom for. In a click, I could have an AI summary of their pains, everything right in front of me.
Uh-huh.
Brilliant. Like sales, demos, CS calls, they're on there. For in product information, like we have micro surveys running within our product where we're
Mm.
collecting feedback like 24/7. I've got so much feedback there. Using Chameleon, we've got an AI summary at a click. Boom, I can take that away as well. If I want to have more like information internally too, one thing I think we've done super well at Chameleon is having all of our chats like in public channels,
Uh-huh.
which means like over time Slack has become like a wealth of information, like a wiki. I can use it to search. I can find the information I need. So I think like only after you've kind of gone digging yourself and put your
Right.
detective hat on is when you can perhaps you form a theory or you form an opinion
Yeah.
and you ask others on the team to like challenge you, or maybe they can enhance it a little bit with, I don't know, maybe it's a sentiment or a tangential conversation that they've had at a conference that you might not
Mm.
have that insight into. But I think marketers should certainly, yeah, be working harder than they are with the tools that they have.
Precisely, because that kind of those conversations, that's my personal opinion, and maybe people disagree. Those conversations are usually anecdotal. It's like, oh, this happened, or I was not able to do this in the product, then I went out, or whatever. But what you're
Yeah.
mentioning, those micro surveys. So how did this go? Or I don't know, what does it prompt you to do? But throughout the process that you design for people to do, if they're being questioned about each and every step, you've got so many touches throughout all of that onboarding journey for you not to even need to ask because they told you
No.
while they were at it, not after.
It's so hard to chat to customers. Like, I know
Yeah.
there's always people who are going to say, like, you have to talk to your customers if you're in marketing. Like, we do talk to
Yeah.
customers. case studies. I've got some that are now like kind of great connections, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But we're busy people. They're busy people. We're dealing with like product managers, directors of product marketing. Like I feel them. They don't have
Yeah.
much time.
Kirsty, what's your biggest challenge this year as a product marketer?
Ooh,
I'm throwing you around, huh? It's only because I like you so much. It's like, come on, you tell me stuff you know.
like more hot takes. I think biggest challenge is
Or at least a challenge. It doesn't have to be
I think
big.
okay, challenge definitely
Yeah.
is one I think a lot of product marketers will have too, is that we get a lot of releases
Mm-hmm.
and we have a product team who are proud of all the releases that we're doing. And I can see like these are great. Some of these are like small fixes or improvements that people have been asking for, and they're going to be delighted to see that. But for us, it's hard to like give each one the time that it needs to shine. And like sometimes maybe what someone might think is like the best thing ever might be like, okay, this is a priority for us, but a little
Yeah.
bit further down. So one challenge that I'm kind of grappling with at the moment is like
Yeah.
how to package up features and product releases like internally as well. Um,
Interesting.
to get the team to help promote. Like I think
Yeah.
product teams should be proud of what they're building, sharing what they're up to. And I think marketing can definitely help facilitate that, but we can't drive it like all the way when you're in a small team.
Yeah.
You really do have to like count on others and get them involved too.
I understand that. And I even see that in front of me the way it also happens at Dream Data once in a while. So how far do you as a product marketing drive with a new upcoming feature before you say that to the further organization? Because sales are going to jump and probably will tell people they should not be telling that to. When does a release happen? How do you work with those cycles?
Yeah, we've got a lot better at it before. Like 6 9 months ago, it was absolute chaos. So here were like new features coming. We weren't ready for them. But what's actually solved that is just being friends with a product manager, having that weekly, having a shared calendar where we just like sync up on if anything's delayed, anything that we should know about. And one thing we're trying to do is like map out these features kind of like on a week by week release of what's coming. And like January, I've got pretty set in stone. Up until about mid February, I feel good about what we've got coming. But then February, March, it becomes a little bit looser. Like I know this is coming. I'm not too sure on the dates, but having that information does give me the ability to then think, okay, what content would complement that?
Yeah.
And what can I start to like build out within the marketing plan? Like, is there a social campaign we can do alongside it? And of course, like timelines will change, things will get delayed.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're ahead of it and you feel like, okay, no worries, we can swap them around, then you're not going to feel panicked. You're not going to drop the ball on anything. And I think you'll feel a lot more prepared.
Yeah. That is really nice. And then it's much easier for the team to follow you too, because then you know how to explain it and what to ask for from the rest of the organization when you're rolling with it. That's really cool. Do we have any questions in the audience? So Miguel says hi. He's very surprised that it's you. So yes,
Yeah.
that's Kirsty. And then we've got Samuel as well. Whoever has any questions, we're about to wrap this up. So you can ask Kirsty anything about content and product marketing as well. Or about Argentina.
Argentina. Oh, don't make me hungry. I'll be thinking about the empanadas.
Yeah, precisely. That's, I wish that was something different than the snow. Alrighty. Kirsty, thank you so much for the session today. If people would like to reach out to you and have a further chat, where can they find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn, Kirsty Finlayson, or if you have any specific questions about Chameleon, user onboarding, that kind of trail of thought, it's kirsty@chameleon.io. Feel free to reach out.
Amazing. And follow the team. They're doing really nice stuff on social. And sometimes I'm very jealous of your meetups. But let's keep it for another session. All right, guys. Thank you so much for today, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Kirsty.